With Radio Algeria International, you will not miss a single major political or economic event. Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
The newly appointed interim Prime Minister has stressed commitment to working tirelessly to implement the program of the President of the Republic and all the projects. Algeria's permanent representative to the United Nations, Ambassador Amr Benjama, has reiterated the country's emphasis on the vital importance of the President of the United Nations interim force in Lebanon. UNRWA has warned that the intensification of Israeli military aggression in Gaza City would expose about 1 million Palestinians to further forced displacement. Hello and welcome on Radio Algeria International. I'm Mariam Barshi. The President of the Republic, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defence, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has chaired a meeting devoted to the trade sector and the strengthening of national market regulation mechanisms. During the meeting, the President of the Republic gave instructions and guidelines to reinforce vigilance in supplying the national market with various products to avoid any form of disruption or shortage in consumer goods. President Tebboune also stressed the need to act with the necessary rigour to meet the needs of citizens and to ensure compliance with and enforcement of the laws of the Republic in order to continue the fight against fraud and speculation without affecting the food supplies of Algerians. The President of the Republic also praised the integrity of the majority of economic operators and farmers, as well as their significant role in supporting the state's efforts to organize the market. Mr. Sifi Ghreib took office as interim Prime Minister at the Government Palace during a handover ceremony with Mr. Nadir Harbawi. Mr. Ghreib thanked the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, for trusting him and Nadir Harbawi for all the efforts made throughout the period he assumed his position.
لقد حظيت بتكليف وبشرف من السيد رئيس الجمهورية على تولي رئاسة الحكومة بالنيابة.
I had the honor of being entrusted by the President of the Republic to occupy the post of interim Prime Minister. I thank him for trusting me. We have a lot of work ahead of us, particularly with the social resumption of the school year, but we are committed to working tirelessly to implement the program of the President of the Republic and all the projects that will undoubtedly bring a real plus to the national economy. I also thank Nadir Al-Arbawi for all the efforts made throughout the period he assumed his position.
For his part, Mr. Harbawi congratulated Mr. Sifi Ghreib for the trust placed in him by the President of the Republic, to whom he expressed his thanks and gratitude for the confidence he has placed in him throughout his tenure in his role. Earlier, the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, signed a presidential decree terminating Mr. Nadir Harbawi's duties as Prime Minister and deciding to appoint Mr. Sifi Ghreib as interim Prime Minister in his place. The Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defence, Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, Army General Saeed Changriha, has received here in Algiers the Chief of Staff of the Indian Army, Army General Dwivedi Vedi Upendra, at the end of his working visit to Algeria. The two army generals discussed global security challenges and exchanged views on current issues. Jamil Salmani reports.
On the occasion, Army General Saeed Changriha expressed his satisfaction with the level of bilateral relations, notably in light of the meeting between the President of the Republic and the Indian President during her visit to Algeria last October. He added that Algerian-Indian relations had gained new momentum thanks to the recent official visit to Algeria in October 2024 by the President of the Republic of India, Madame Droupadi Murmu, during which bilateral discussions with the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, contributed to defining new horizons and adopting future strategies aimed at promoting the level of bilateral cooperation and activating all common mechanisms on both sides through the various bilateral commissions. The Army General Chief of Staff of the Indian Land Forces, for his part, expressed his satisfaction with the visit to Algeria, which was an opportunity to exchange ideas and views with the leaders of the Land Forces Command and to discuss with the High Command of the Army the various security issues arising on the regional and international scenes, highlighting the existence of great opportunities for both parties to establish beneficial and fruitful military cooperation for both countries.
Algeria's permanent representative to the United Nations, Ambassador Amr Benjama, has reiterated the country's emphasis on the vital importance of the presence of the United Nations interim force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, as a safety valve ensuring stability in Lebanon and the region. Jamal Salmani has more details in this report.
In his speech during the Security Council meeting on the situation in the Middle East, Mr. Benjama praised the significant efforts made by UNIFIL to ease tensions, commending its leadership and all contributing countries for their commitment and sacrifices in the service of international peace and security.
Algeria pays tribute to UNIFIL's leadership, to its personnel, and to all troop and police contributing countries for their commitment, for their sacrifice since 1978 in the service of peace. We conclude by urging the international community to extend its support to Lebanon so that it may renew with stability and prosperity.
The Algerian ambassador explained that UNIFIL plays a pivotal role in stopping hostilities in southern Lebanon, noting that Lebanese territory remains under Israeli occupation, which prevents UN forces from fully carrying out their duties. He added that Algeria believes that any decisions issued by the Security Council regarding peacekeeping missions must be guided by the will and consent of the host country and based on facts on the ground.
Algeria firmly believes that Security Council resolutions concerning peace missions must be guided by the will and the consent of the host country and grounded in realities on the ground. UNIFIL remains indispensable to stability in Lebanon and in the region. It has played a key role in de-escalating tensions, preventing miscalculations, and supporting the cessation of hostilities, thus contributing to regional stability.
Mr. Benjama also stressed that peace and stability in the Arab region will remain elusive as long as the Zionist occupation of a number of Arab territories continues, calling on the international community to continue to support Lebanon in facing the current challenges.
Vice-Part UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said that the levels of death and destruction in Gaza have reached unprecedented levels as a result of Zionist aggression.
Unbelievably, civilians are facing yet another deadly escalation. Israel's initial steps to military take over Gaza City signals a new and dangerous phase. Expanded military operations in Gaza City will have devastating consequences. Hundreds of thousands of civilians, already exhausted and traumatized, would be forced to flee yet again, plunging families into even deeper peril. These must stop. At the same time, we have seen yet more unconscionable Israeli strikes, including earlier this week at Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis. One attack was followed by another, killing civilians, including medical personnel and journalists, who were carrying out their essential work, all with the world watching.
That was the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres. In the past 24 hours, 23 civilians have been killed and more than 182 others were wounded as the Israeli occupying forces continues its pounding of the Gaza Strip, bringing the death toll to 63,025, wounding at least 159,490 people. The toll remains incomplete as many victims remain trapped in the rubble, inaccessible to ambulance and rescue crews. Medical sources confirm that since the Israeli occupying forces broke its ceasefire agreement and resumed its aggression on the besieged enclave on March 18, 2025, at least 11,178 civilians have been killed and 47,449 others have been injured. The total number of aid seekers killed in aid-related attacks reached 2,203, with at least 16,228 others wounded. Sources told the Palestinian news agency WAFA that hospitals in the Gaza Strip continue to report daily deaths caused by starvation and malnutrition, the majority of them children, amid the ongoing ban on the entry of food, medicine and fuel needed to keep health facilities operational. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, UNRWA, has warned that the intensification of Israeli military aggression in Gaza City would expose approximately 1 million Palestinians to further forced displacement. The UN agency wrote in a message posted on social media that any further escalation would exacerbate suffering and push more citizens towards catastrophe, given the existing famine in the Palestinian enclave devastated by nearly 2 years of genocide. It stressed that the ongoing Israeli bombardment of the Gaza Strip and evacuation orders are forcing entire families to leave their homes again in fear and destruction. Supported by international legality, the Sahrawi cause continues to achieve major victories in international forums, thus thwarting all the Moroccan occupiers' attempts to establish a colonial reality, notably following the remarkable participation of the Sahrawi army in the African Chiefs of Staff Summit recently held in Abuja, Nigeria. Jamal Salmani has the details.
The Sahrawi Ministry of Defense participated in the summit at the invitation of the Nigerian Chief of Staff, General Christopher Musa. The Sahrawi delegation was led by the member of the General Staff, the Central Director of Inspection, Al-Fadil Mohammed Breika, who took this opportunity to hold fruitful meetings with several delegations from African armies to exchange expertise. The participation of the Sahrawi army was positive and enriched the discussions and presentations, given the important role of the Sahrawi army in the fight against terrorism, drug trafficking and cross-border organized crime. The military victories achieved by the Sahrawi Republic do not stop with its participation in continental forums, especially as the Sahrawi army is waging a war of attrition against the occupying army, resulting in the devastation of the Moroccan economy.
During a Security Council session held yesterday, Catherine Russell, Executive Director of UNICEF, has delivered a stark overview of the situation of children in Haiti. She warned that the number of children recruited by armed gangs has increased by 700% compared to the previous year, meaning that nearly 50% of these groups' members are now minors. Many of them are forced to participate in combat, carry weapons, serve as messengers or spies, or perform domestic tasks, exposing them to high levels of physical and psychological violence. The details with Jamal Salmani.
Ms. Catherine Russell also denounced the dire humanitarian situation in the country, pointing out that the international response remains severely underfunded. Essential health, nutrition and education programs have been brought to a halt, while many schools have been converted into shelters for thousands of internally displaced people fleeing violence. In this context, she called for strengthened international efforts to ensure humanitarian access and the protection of children who are becoming direct victims of Haiti's institutional collapse.
In the first quarter of this year, there has been a 25% increase compared to the first quarter of 2024. Most alarming is the almost 700% rise in cases of recruitment of children, alongside a 54% increase in killing and maiming. Keep in mind that these are just the cases we have been able to verify. We believe the true figures are likely much higher. Children are being killed and maimed during violence between armed actors, particularly in dense populated areas of Port-au-Prince. We have also verified cases of children being summarily executed. The entry of new armed actors and more sophisticated technology, including explosive weapons, into the fighting is putting children's safety at even greater risk. The recruitment and use of children by armed groups is rampant. We estimate that children currently account for a staggering 50% of armed group members active today.
She stressed that without a stronger and more coordinated intervention, Haitian children will continue to be targets of exploitation and abuse in a country trapped between armed violence and the lack of sustained responses. Russell's intervention made it clear that Haiti's future hangs by a thread, and its children need immediate protection.
That's it for today's news bulletin. Stay tuned on Radio Algeria International.
Welcome to your weekly program Destination Algeria. I'm Jamal Sameni. There are a number of great destinations in Algeria just waiting to be discovered. A curious mixture of cultures and influences, Algeria has something interesting to see in just about every city. The country is also the first largest on the African continent, so you can be sure there are plenty of towns and cities to visit. Let's visit Algeria's fascinating destinations, you and I together. The small settlement of Jijel is located in the northeastern region of Algeria and is the administrative center and capital of the Jijel province. It is not a bustling city or town filled with nightlife and noteworthy tourist attractions. Jijel is more a resort settlement that does have a few important industries, but is a peaceful destination. In Algeria, where tourists spend most of their time relaxing on the breathtaking beaches. Jijel was originally established as a trading post that changed ownership from the Phoenicians to the Romans, onto the Arabs, and even fell into the hands of the legendary pirate Khayr ad-Din Barbarossa. Of course, most of the existence of these eras and the occupation by the French was destroyed by the 1856 earthquake that left nothing but memories and devastation in its wake. Today, the town of Jijel has a permanent population of approximately 100,000 that concentrates mainly on the production of agricultural products and fishing. Three larger industries, namely cork production, steel making, and leather tanning, have managed to flourish in Jijel. The cork production industry has led to the town being surrounded by vast cork tree plantations, bringing life to the landscapes. Another industry that has become vital to Algeria is the Jijel Tannery. It is the leading producer of furniture, leather crafts, and footwear in the country. Important establishments such as a mosque, hospital, and the University of Jijel are available in the town. The only noteworthy site in Jijel is the Phoenician tombs, located outside the town. These fascinating historical structures managed to survive the earthquake. Other than that, the greatest attractions to the town are the abundance of natural wonders, wildlife, birds, and the beautiful beaches. The town is mostly visited by Algerian locals who enjoy the peace and tranquility that is found there. Every so often, a foreign visitor will arrive to appreciate this scheduled getaway. Jijel can be reached by road from Algiers, Constantine, Bijaya, and Stif. The rugged landscape of the town and the magical opportunity to explore an area that has been left virtually untouched is an adventure. And being able to completely break away from the usual tourist destinations in Algeria and walk off the beaten track is a chance that should not be passed up. Welcome back. You're listening to Destination Algeria. This is the English service of Radio Algeria International, a program devoted to discovering Algeria, a fascinating tourist destination. In the second part, I tell you about Qalat Ibn Salama and Ibn Khaldun. The ancient fortress of Qalat ibn Salama is situated on a hill near present-day Tiaret, southwest of Algiers, the capital city of Algeria. As a military fortress, Qalat ibn Salama no doubt served the purpose of protecting the people in the area from foreign invaders. However, the historical fact that Qalat ibn Salama is most recognized for is that Ibn Khaldun took shelter there between 1375 and 1379. It was during these 4 years that he began to compose his renowned Muqaddimah, the first volume of his book on the subject of universal history. Ibn Khaldun was a famous scholar, historian, theologian, and statesman who was born in Algeria's neighboring country Tunisia in the year 1332. Ibn Khaldun stood out among his peers as a forward thinker with regard to sociology, demography, historiography, cultural history, the philosophy of history, and modern economics. Ibn Khaldun anticipated many elements of these disciplines, especially relating to social sciences, centuries before they were founded or put into practice. This has led to many learned people considering him to be the true pioneer or father of these disciplines. Ibn Khaldun was born into an Andalusian family which was considered to be socially upper class. Around the middle of the 13th century, his family immigrated to Tunisia, where some of his family members held political office. Ibn Khaldun states in his autobiography that he was able to trace his descent through an Arab tribe, specifically the Hadramaut from Yemen, right back to the time of Muhammad. His family's high social rank gave him the opportunity to study with the best teachers in North Africa at the time. Ibn Khaldun pursued a political career as many of his family had before him. In the politically volatile climate of North Africa at the time, he soon developed the art of diplomacy, learning to intercept political changes and adapt swiftly to changing circumstances. His political skills, along with the good relationships he had forged with the Berber tribes, made Ibn Khaldun valuable to the North African rulers. In 1375, he was sent on a mission to the Dawadiya tribes by Abu Hammu, the Sultan of Tlemcen. He sought refuge with the Awlad Arif Berber tribe in Qalat ibn Salama in central Algeria. He remained there for close on 4 years, enjoying the protection of his host. He took advantage of this time to write the Muqaddimah, but lacking the text, he needed to complete the work. In 1378, he returned to Tunisia, where he devoted himself to completing his history of the word. Certainly, Ibn Khaldun's autobiography has all the ingredients of high adventure, complete with political glory, imprisonment, and exile. Should you have the opportunity to visit Qalat ibn Salama in Algeria, take some time to reflect on some of the history relating to the ancient stone walls.
to Discover Algeria, weekly program in which we'll let